I'm Joe, as always joined by...
Devin.
And...
Steve.
All right. And this week we're going to talk about, guess what? Another unsolved mystery.
What?
Yeah.
I thought we were out of those.
Yeah, no, we're not quite out. We will be soon.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks. But
Then it's Cooking with Joe, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a terrible show.
Yeah.
How to cook ramen the fifth way.
Yeah.
Actually, have you heard how bad ramen supposedly is for you now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, really bad. Don't cook with it. Don't eat it.
Turns out, like, fish oil is not actually all that good for you either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're already off topic, and we're not a minute into the show.
Haven't even, I know. Let's get on with this. So this week we're going to talk about an interesting little mystery out of Ireland, which is a strange and mysterious island. We're going to talk about the case of Peter Bergman, who you guys, people may or may not have heard of. Before we go any further, I would like to give a shout out to our listener John, who suggested this topic. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
And so let's get started. So who was Peter Bergman? Nobody knows. It's almost certainly was not this guy's real name. There might be somebody out there who does know, but they're apparently not talking. So our story began in 2009, specifically June 12th, 2009, when Peter Bergman showed up at the town of Sligo, Ireland. And then 4 days later, he was found dead on a beach north of town.
You cut this one close under the 5-year wire, didn't you there, sir?
I
You've
know.
been sitting on this, haven't you?
Yeah, it's only 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
6 years and a couple of months. Yeah. Anyway, he was found dead on the beach. An autopsy was done, of course, and it turned up no signs of violence or foul play. It also showed that he had advanced prostate cancer, he had bone tumors, and it appeared that he had had a few previous heart attacks. So not in the greatest of shape.
No.
There was no evidence of painkillers in his system, although he did say he had some aspirin in his possession when he died, but he wasn't taking it apparently.
Which is, like, we should mention, really, really odd.
That is
for somebody.
odd.
He would have likely have been in an immense amount of pain.
Or at least some pain.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll disagree with that. Well, I just, everybody says, well, he had to be in such pain.
I'm not sure.
I don't know that that's true. I mean, I know
was
it was in his bones and everything else, but I've known people who have had massive amounts of cancer all through their body. They felt a little off. And that was it. Till they happened to go to the doctor and figure out what was going on.
Yeah, so
they were relatively okay. So I don't know that he necessarily would have been in really any substantial amount of pain.
That's fair.
Yeah, he might not have been. It's hard to say. I mean, I've seen video of him, and he didn't appear to be all doubled over in pain or anything like that. Oh, there were two other strange things that were found in the autopsy. He had one kidney removed, and also, even though he was found apparently washed up on a beach, he didn't die by drowning. That's a mystery.
That's weird. How did he die?
Yeah. Who was Peter Bergman? What was he up to in Sligo in the days between he arrived on Friday and he died on the 16th of June? What brought him to the town? What brought him to the... And how and why did he die if he didn't drown?
Really?
Yeah. It's intriguing, don't you think?
Yeah, this is like the Tom and Trude case.
Yeah?
Yeah, it kind of,
Man?
it's reminiscent of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. Let's get to the last mystery first, which is how did he die if he didn't drown? Well, actually, it turns out he did drown. Even though Wikipedia and web sleuths, etc., say that he didn't drown, he actually did.
How do you know that?
I got this from the website of the Federal Office of Criminal Investigation in Germany, which is kind of their equivalent of the FBI.
Okay.
Yeah. They have what's called their unknown dead section, unidentified dead people, and he's got his own page on there with his description and his photograph and everything, and it lists the cause of death as drowning.
Yeah, so it was interesting to me because I did a fair number of, I actually spent this entire afternoon, because it was 2009, so there should be records of there would have been newspaper articles in my mind, right? People would have been like, wow, this guy washed up on shore dead. Like, that's weird. And there was some weirdness around the case anyway, and I couldn't find anything.
I found one newspaper article that said he died of drowning.
I didn't find any. I found one newspaper article. It was the only one I could find that was pre the release of the movie we're about to talk about. It was from April 2010. And it didn't say anything about the cause of death at all. It didn't address it. It actually didn't address any of the health anythings. So I thought that was a little odd, but you couldn't find anything about the autopsy. You couldn't find anything about anything from that actual time, even from that year,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
He didn't make the papers.
Oh,
He didn't make the news.
It made the news, but it's one of those things that
Very
kind of
local.
popped up and then died out again pretty quickly.
Well, I
Except for-
searched through the archives of the local newspapers, the Chronicle there, and it didn't have anything. It was very odd. And it's possible that, as I said, it was just this afternoon, so it's possible had I, given myself more time to do more digging,
Yeah.
it would have cropped up, but I did a lot of Googling and it didn't.
There's not a huge amount
anything.
out there about this one.
There's
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I found a lot of repetition in what was available.
Yeah, and
about
almost
this story on the
everything I
internet.
found was more about the movie than it was about the case.
Oh, and
Yeah.
what it was about the case tended to be not word for word copy paste like we find a lot,
But close.
but
But close,
very,
yeah.
very lax rewritings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I noticed that, yeah. But anyway, luckily I did find that German website, and so that clears that up.
yeah.
Which is, I think what happened, I think I know how that got started. Because we mentioned the film in 2013, a guy named Kieran Cassidy made a short film called The Last Days of Peter Bergman. And in this film, he actually splices together interviews with a lot of closed-circuit TV footage from around
Yeah,
town.
tons.
A lot.
Because
Yeah.
there's closed circuit TV all over that town.
Yeah, they've got it all wired up. But they interview Clive Kilgallen, who was the medical examiner who performed the autopsy on Bergman. And he stated in the interview, he said that initially there were no outward signs of saltwater drowning. And my takeaway from that is that he meant, at first glance, he didn't look drowned. That's all that he meant by it.
That's as far as he went in the
Yeah, he
film.
didn't say there was no evidence of drowning after the autopsy.
But he also
autopsy
didn't
was
say he
done.
drowned.
He didn't say it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, now I watched it. I watched it again this afternoon, and I'm just thinking, was his bit in the movie? It ends almost immediately after that, doesn't it?
The only,
long
I think
after
that's
that.
the only interview they had with him. Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying he's on there for, I don't know, maybe a minute. But
Yeah.
as soon as he says that bit, it cuts to something else, and I wonder if that intentionally got left out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't want to point fingers. I'm just wondering.
I don't
Yeah.
think the film intended to mislead, because, like, for example, you hear the detective who investigated the case saying after that he thinks that perhaps Bergman intended to be carried out to sea and not washed back up on shore. So it seems to me that they just didn't even talk about the cause of death because it was just glaringly obvious, and so they didn't feel the need to talk about it.
Sure.
But it didn't
Yeah.
come across as obvious as they wanted it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we've been
But-
guilty of a time or two.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and obviously you can infer that he drowned, because if he hadn't drowned, then that would have added a huge bit of mystery to this whole thing. What, did he just go to the beach and will himself to die? You know, and they don't bring up anything like that. And also, Kilgallen in his interview, that's the medical examiner, said nothing about a missing kidney. And you think he does a pretty thorough autopsy. He found the cancer, and the bone tumors, and the heart attacks, and all that stuff. And he didn't notice it was a missing kidney.
Yeah,
But-
it seems like he would have mentioned that.
Yeah, the only place I looked around and I didn't find any mention of that other than the Wikipedia page. So I think we can discount that.
And I couldn't find. I followed the links. I know, sometimes we just read a Wikipedia page and go on our business, but I actually did my due diligence and tried to follow all of the links. And the one where it said that he hadn't drowned, in the autopsy section of the Wikipedia, it linked to that German website that you posted, which obviously they hadn't really, I don't know, translated well enough. or something.
Apparently they didn't do a good job of translating.
Yeah, so it was
it is
odd.
in German. So,
It was just
yeah.
odd that it, on the Wikipedia page, the source that they cited said the exact opposite of the thing that
Yeah, I know.
they're citing it for. So there were
yeah.
some problems with that Wikipedia page for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it happens. Anyway, so now we've solved that mystery. Let's talk about the rest of it,
Yeah,
because there's still some remaining mystery here.
lots of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So our mystery begins June 12th, 2009. As I said, Peter Bergman, if that's his real name.
We
Well,
have to call him that because that's all we know him by.
Yeah, that's all we know him
Yeah.
by. That's right. So he got on a bus in Derry, Northern Ireland, and rode it to Sligo, which is also in Northern Ireland, but not in Northern Ireland. It's
It's in the north part of Ireland,
but not in
Northern
not
Ireland.
in Northern Ireland. Yeah, okay, just so you know.
There's
What?
a couple of capitals in that, isn't there? It's the capital N and I and the capital I, but lowercase n. Is that how you're differentiating these
Exactly.
in your notes here?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So Sligo is in the one with the lowercase n.
This is going to get confusing.
Oh yeah. And Sligo is a coastal town of about 20,000 people, so not a city. Of course, I've looked at it in Google Earth and Street View, and it's a charming little town. Bergman arrived in Sligo, and he went to the Sligo City Hotel and checked in. He didn't have a reservation. He was a walk-in. And interestingly, the hotel didn't ask to see a passport or cash.
Up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so typically hotels usually want to see a driver's license, right?
Something.
Yeah.
They want something to hold in case you filch out or you do a bunch of damage or anything like that.
Yeah. And they did not. So when he signed into the hotel register, he gave his name as Peter Bergman, and he listed an address in Vienna, Austria, which, as it turns out, was a vacant lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's something interesting, though. And that is the bus station in Sligo is right next to a hotel, the Sligo Southern Hotel, which basically charges about the same rates for a room as the Sligo City Hotel. And if Bergman had taken the most obvious, easy route to go to the City Hotel, he would have passed by the Clarence Hotel, which also charges about the same rates. So instead of going to those hotels, he went to the Sligo City Hotel. Makes you wonder. Well, maybe.
Odd. It's like he picked it out ahead of time.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like, maybe he went there because they wouldn't ask to see ID. Maybe. But how would he know that ahead of time?
Good point, actually.
Yeah, actually, I had an email conversation with one of our listeners, Gavin, related to this, and he told me that there are actually a lot of German tourists like to go to Western Ireland. It's very popular. They're among the, between British people, Americans, and Germans are the three heaviest travelers. So he was saying it seems really possible that he went there. He'd been there before.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he might have been familiar with Sligo. But he might have also gotten this. He took a cab to the hotel from the bus station, so he might have gotten this from his cab driver, too. Maybe his cab driver told him.
Yeah.
We will never know. Okay, now he's checking in at the hotel. He's got a shoulder bag, which is kind of like a laptop bag, and he's got a larger piece of luggage. And you guys have seen it on film. It's not really a suitcase. It's more like a really huge black bag.
Is it like a duffel bag?
No, it's kind of like a big open top bag. It's as big as a suitcase. But imagine those shopping bags that they have. They have just the two loop handles, and they're
like
kind of open on top.
those big blue IKEA bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had this really, really great big bag, and he had that, and then his laptop bag, and that's what he had, according to the closed-circuit TV cameras. He had a heavy accent, probably German or Austrian, although there were some people who said they thought he sounded more Eastern European. He appeared to be 55 to 60 years old. He had short white hair, was wearing glasses, and also wearing a waist-length black leather jacket. You guys have seen all of
he wouldn't have stood out in a crowd.
No, not at all.
There was nothing weird, unique about him.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Well, anyway, he spent the weekend. He checked in on a Friday afternoon. Spent the weekend hanging around the hotel. He ate in the hotel's restaurant, and he left quite often to go out for walks.
Didn't they?
Be a tourist.
The woman at the front desk called him. How'd she refer to him as? A friendly face or a familiar face around.
Yeah, she said he was a familiar face.
That she would always see him.
Yeah,
that whole weekend she saw him a lot.
He was around. Yeah. But he would leave quite often too. And every time he left, he was carrying a purple plastic bag. And by some accounts, he left with that bag 13 times. And whenever we returned to the hotel, he didn't have the bag with him.
Well, I mean, he may have in a pocket or something, but he wasn't carrying it full of stuff anymore.
Yeah, exactly. The contents of the bag had disappeared.
And it's not, just so people get the idea, it's not a huge bag or anything like that. It's a plastic bag that I would say is kind of equal in size to what you would get from, say, a grocery store. It's not packed full of stuff, but it's just a little one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a huge bag.
Like the kind you get from Forever 21 when you just buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Because I always shop at Forever 21.
I know you do.
I'm not.
No?
Please, Joe, what else? Please keep going, please.
So if I shop there, can I be 21 again?
Yeah. You are automatically,
Whoa, okay.
They won't think you're just the creepy old man.
Yeah, cool. I'm there. Anyway, I mentioned before the closed-circuit TV cameras. They're not only is the town all wired up with closed-circuit TV, I'm going to call it CCTVs from now on, but also the City Hotel has got a lot of CCTVs in it also. And the Gardaí, that's what they call the police in Ireland. The Gardaí investigated this thing. They got the CCTV footage from the hotel and from all around town and started going through it. And that must have been a job.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really a lot of TV watching. They got all sorts of little bits of video of Bergman, he was leaving and entering the hotel, always leaving with the purple bag, and always returning without it. There were clips of him walking around Sligo with his purple bag, and also clips of him without it. But you never see him actually doing something like emptying the bag out of a trash can, or handing it to somebody, or throwing it over a wall, or, you never see that.
Mm-hmm.
So
you either see him with it or without it.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know if that's random chance, or if he actually was well aware of all the CCTVs around town, and he deliberately avoided doing whatever he did with the contents of the purple bag when there was a camera around.
The funny thing is about that is when you watch him on the footage, he looks like he's aimlessly wandering around.
Yeah, and he's not wandering around like a tourist. He's not looking at stuff.
He's just walking around.
He's walking around.
There's a couple of scenes I remember in the movie that you see it, and it's like, wait, that's the same street. He walked down one side, and then later on up the other side, and then came back down. And I'm sure that they weren't all in the same walk, but it's like you just wander around, just up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was too lazy to actually compare all of those things to actual Google Street View, so you try to retrace his tracks. It'd be pointless to do that anyway. Since the clips that are in the movie, you don't know if they're even in chronological order, so you really can't trace his movements that way.
Yeah.
Plus, that would be a huge job. So.
Well, so were the contents of the bag, or the bags, or the contents of the bag, were they ever found?
No.
Oh.
No. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the investigation.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Well, what they did is, after they discovered this whole thing about the purple bag, they started looking in all the garbage cans around town and all the dumpsters, and they even went down to the city dump and dug around in the city dump, seeing if they could find the contents of what he'd been emptying out, and they found nothing. So they just found regular old garbage.
Well, but okay, I'm going to run with the idea that he's just getting rid of his personal belongings, his underwear, his toothbrush, his shaving. Yeah, he always used Crest Sparkle, so this must be his tube of toothpaste. You have no idea. It's in amongst a whole bunch of other garbage.
Yeah, I know. They were just looking for something special, like a diary maybe, or a wallet.
I guess, but then you have to wonder, why? I'm sure there was a dumpster just right outside of the hotel. Why wouldn't he just go and dump all his stuff in that dumpster?
Well, exactly.
Why these very meticulous?
Oh no, it's weird. I don't know.
Out?
It's odd. Well, the police actually formulated a theory, which is that he was trying to erase his identity. Because I don't know if I don't think I mentioned this, but when they found the body, they obviously took it for the autopsy. They removed the clothes. They also found the rest of his clothes down the beach a little ways, and they found out all the tags from every garment. All the tags had been cut out. So it's more like Tom and Shoot again.
Yeah.
And of course there was no ID in the body or anything like that. And so the belief was that he was trying to erase his identity by getting rid of every article anything that he owned.
Yeah, I still I hear that. I just still am not totally sure why it had to be in this very meticulous, spread out around.
Well, yeah, the thing about it is this is what I don't like about this theory, is that he got on a bus in Derry. God knows where he was before he was at Derry. But while he was in Derry, he could have just pitched everything into a dumpster. If he was really worried that Sligo and Gardaí were going to trace its identity, he could have just pitched it all in a dumpster there.
Yeah,
and then,
or wherever he was before then.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the problem that I have with the Gardai's theory.
Yeah.
But luckily, we've got some other theories to work with.
Yeah.
Well, can we?
But we're not even in theories
We'll
yet.
talk about that in a minute.
Well, I was going to say, can we go back there real quick to the all the labels in his clothing?
Yeah.
So I know that one of the things they do in the movie is they show, they put it in front of the camera, look, they're snipped out, and I think it's a tag in a shirt, it's the tag in his underwear, and it might be the tag in his pants.
It's the tag in his Speedo, too, though.
In his it's a Speedo in his, which are all tags that rub against your skin. And I don't know about you, but there are certain brands that I always have to cut the tags out. Because I swear to God they're made out of cardboard with barbed wire on them, because they just scratch the heck out of you.
Yeah.
He may have been, weirdly sensitive.
That's fair, but when you cut those tags out, do you just snip right down to the seam, right? As far as you can go, right?
Yeah.
So on those, they were kind of like haphazardly, like there was still enough tag that if it was irritating his skin, it would have continued to irritate his skin.
That's true. He didn't do
It wasn't a great job.
It wasn't a totally thorough, neat job. No.
It wasn't like this is like scraping the crap out of my skin. I got to get rid of it. It was like a.
I will agree with. I will